Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am in quite a different setting than when this vlog actually took place, and you are up quite close and personal, so I do apologise, but you know what, it is what it is. So I had originally filmed multiple clips for this vlog that were discussing an array of things, and I accidentally deleted them. Yeah, deleted, gone. So I only kind of had like bits and pieces of this vlog. I have like a bit where I'm talking about one of the books I was reading, and then another kind of bit where I was also talking about it, and then an end bit. But like my beginning intro and then also a good chunk of me talking about a few books is gone. So at the start of this vlog, I did actually go over what I read while I was away. However, I don't think I'm going to redo that. I'm just going to leave that to my June wrap up and talk about them then. But I read a few books while I was away. Some I really enjoyed, some were just mediocre, and I'll just talk about them because June ends this week, so I may as well just wait till the end of the week and do my wrap up then. But yes, I did talk about that. I probably spoke about other shit as well because I can speak forever. But essentially I spoke about that, and then in this reading vlog I read Regretting You by T Ashleigh, Wounded by Ashley James, which is the second book in the Unlucky 13 Black Diamond series that a bunch of authors are a part of. And then I also finished Crossing Acheron, and then I'm also almost finished another book, but I hadn't spoken about that and I didn't plan on speaking about that because I was just going to edit my video and get that up today, and then I went to edit it and realized I lost most of the footage. So I read Regretting You, which I do speak about a bit in the clips I do have. Loved it. I gave it 4 stars. This story we're following Tyler and Greg, which this is the third book in the Lionheart's Academy series, so you do kind of need to read the other books to understand the other characters that we meet. And what I was saying, I don't remember if this made it or not in the clip I had or if I deleted it, but I really like the fact that we are seeing Greg and Tyler throughout different time periods that we see in the other books. I really enjoyed seeing their perspective on what was happening to other characters that we saw from their perspective what was happening. So I really enjoyed the timeline. I love the depth in this one. I feel like T. Ashleigh's writing has gotten a lot better, and this book was a really good example of that. I really enjoyed it, loved Greg and Tyler a lot, and I'm excited to see who the next book will be. And then I read Wounded, which we were following Caspian and Rowan, and I really liked this book a lot too. This is the second book in the series. I thought this book had, again, a lot of depth going on, as I think all these books will, because they are dealing more with, rehab and different kind of mental health and addiction issues. But I did really enjoy it. I do wish we got to see a bit more of after the tension point, because there's a lot of smut in this book, and I'll leave the clip in where I do talk about it. But yeah, there's a lot of smut, which is fine, and I know a lot of people love that, but I wish we had more scenes of them together after the high tension point, because we kind of got like a little scene and then the epilogue, but I wish we got a bit more. But I still enjoyed it. That was also a 4 stars. And then in the exiting outro clip of this vlog, I do discuss Crossing Acheron, but I really enjoyed that as well. And now I am almost finished another book. This is a college swim team book, and it's a Rivals to Lovers, and I'm really enjoying it. I've never read anything by this author, and I believe this is their first book as well. And it's really good. Actually, let me get it up for you, because I feel like I'm vlogging out in public and I feel so incredibly awkward doing it. But I'll take one for the team because everyone's at my house this weekend, so it's not like I can do that either. So please don't look at me. This is Drowning in You by Jess Camden, or Camden Jess. Camden Jess, yeah. And I'm really enjoying it. It's quite, this is their first book, but it's quite well written and it's quite poetic as well. It's really beautiful. Some of the sentences, I'm like, oh, that was deep. I loved it. But I'm about like 80-90% of the way, so I'm almost finished this book as well, and I'm loving it. I love the swim team aspect. We have our two characters. So we have Cloud, which is one of our characters, and Raina, and I love the name Raina so much. So Cloud, he's kind of going through a lot. He's reeling from the loss of his best friend, and he is a freshman who is just starting out on the swim team. Like, he's been swimming forever, but this is his first year on the team. And then we have Raina, who comes from one of the wealthiest, most powerful families in the town, and we kind of see him struggle with that. You know, I think a lot of the time people that are wealthy have pretty similar issues in terms of, not all the time, but in terms of their parents being quite strict and not very nice and not very caring, and just kind of dealing with that. And I love how he kind of talks and acknowledges and is like, people think just because I'm rich, I don't have any problems, and I know I can't complain about things. And I can't imagine having that feeling that just because you are wealthy and rich, that you feel like your feelings and what you go through is invalidated because you have money. Whereas, like, you're still a human being. Like, you still are going to feel and go through things, and they're going to hurt you. And I think it's crazy to invalidate that just because someone has money. I get that they can get more help. I completely understand that, and they have better resources. But it doesn't make going through something any less painful just because you have dollar signs next to your name. So that's kind of what Raina is struggling with. But him and Cloud are actually also roommates, and then they're both kind of going for the same relay spot on the swim team. And I just love it. Their banter and their tension and their chemistry and their humor is just so well matched, and I really love it. And this book is also broken up into different sections that are referenced in different swimming terms, and I love it. I can't remember what the first one is, but it's like swimming, floating, drowning, drifting, I think is one of them, but it's kind of broken up in that sense, and I love when books are like that. And I'm just really honestly having such a good time. Like, I started it yesterday and I'm almost finished, so I've been really enjoying it. It's a 4 stars for sure, and we're just now hitting, I know what's going to be the tension point, and it's such a sad tension point too, because it's in relation to Cloud's best friend who passed away. So I can see this chapter that we've entered is not going to be the happiest of chapter, I think. But I hope they get their happy ending, because they both deserve it, and I really love them both as characters. So yeah, this is the first book. I think it's the Neptune series is what it's going to be called, and I'm loving it. So I'm really excited to see who the next book would be about, because we've met a few other side characters as well that are really intriguing. And I think potentially maybe, because Raina is the 5th son, so there's 4 other boys, and we've met Anson, who is his other brother that he's probably the closest to. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. I'm really having a good time. I love, like, nothing makes me happier and more giddy than a really solid enemies or rivals to lovers that has that sarcasm, that banter, that snark, and that chemistry that you can just feel between the characters. Oh, there's just not a feeling like it. I think when you read a book that really hits that need and that spot you have for it so well, which really makes me so happy. So yeah, those are the books basically that I've been reading this week, and that were meant to be the main kind of books of this reading vlog, but I'm going to still keep the other clips in. They're just going to be disjointed. So for the fact that they are, I really apologize. And I will not be an idiot next time and just delete what I think is old clips that actually weren't old clips. So yes, that's book news. I haven't really been watching much. I finished up Vanderpump Rules, finished up Real Housewives of New Jersey. And so I've just kind of been watching YouTube. A lot of my favorite YouTubers, like Amy and Books Past Bedtime, they've been uploading a lot during Pride Month, which has been really nice. I've been loving those videos, and then also just other videos and other YouTubers I love is what I watch the most. So yeah, that's what I've been doing and what I've been up to. Happy Pride Month. I feel like last video I was a bit doom and gloom about it, but I do think it's such a wonderful time to obviously celebrate the community and to just be full of love and happiness. But it's also just bittersweet because there's also so much going on, especially with what's going on in America at the moment, which is just honestly it's just so depressing. But there's just, you know, if this is a hard month for you, I love you. You are loved and celebrated and perfect the way you are. And I totally understand that it can feel a bit overwhelming at the same time, and being maybe not the best spot for everyone, not being able to celebrate who you really are. So happy Pride. Be yourself always. But yes, I also understand if it's a hard time for you. And please feel free to ever reach out if you need anything. So yeah, that's essentially what you missed. I mean, you probably didn't. I chat so long and so much shit that I realistically should keep every reading vlog like this short and sweet with a wrap up of what I read quickly like that. But I just seem incapable. Like, I feel like I need to give you all the details about the book I'm reading, and that's something I need to work on. So yes, those are the four books I read. Really enjoyed all of them. Most of them were romance-based, more contemporary books, but the one fantasy book I did read, I really enjoyed. And I want to read some more fantasy books as well. But then also a few other books that I want to read as well that did come out in this time, such as Lot 62 by Nordika Night, which is the second book in the From Nothing series. I've started that as well, and I'll see if anything else comes out today. I doubt it. A few of the books that I want to read do come out next week. Should I? Oh god, no. I look so rough and crusty today, so the glasses are going on. Yes, sir, can I help you? Anyway, I'm gonna go because I am hot in the car. I've come to return a book to the library that I took with me when I went on holiday, but I never got a chance to read it, and I have to return it today. So I do definitely want to come back, and I want to do a video where I read the books, the queer books from my library, which is completely Kat BM Books' idea. She's made multiple videos like that, which I have found really entertaining and really good. But yes, my library definitely has a lot of good queer books, and I'd like to make a video doing that, but I need to return this first. I just hate having a time limit on reading books because I'm such a mood reader that I had a bunch of books out. However, I didn't get around to reading them because then I wanted to read the books that are on my Kindle. So I need to learn to prioritize reading better if I am going to borrow books from the library, which I do plan on doing. But yes, that's why I'm here. That's where I'm at, my library. And then I have a few other things to go and do as well. And I'm going to go edit this. And again, I apologize for it being disjointed. I'm getting back into it, but I will see you guys next week with another video. I do actually have an outro, so I don't really need to give you an outro, but I will, just in case. I'll see you guys then. Enjoy this random mishmash of clips and videos talking about books I really enjoyed. Good morning, everybody. It is the next day, and I have done a bit of reading, and then also today a very exciting release came out. Regretting You by T Ashleigh is the third book in her Lion's Heart Academy series, and I initially thought it was coming out in June, and then on Kindle it said it was coming out in August, but today it has come out, which I'm super excited about because this book is around Greg and Tyler, which are two characters that we have met in both of the two books already, which I'm just really intrigued by their story and to see them because it's a bit more of an enemies to lovers kind of story for them. And yeah, that came out today, which I was not expecting, so I'm very excited to get into it. However, I have started the second book in the Black Diamond series by Ashley James. I'm probably about like 25%, 30% through that, and I thought I would just do a bit of reading now because I have like this weird thing where I primarily read at night. Like I'll read in the morning when I wake up for a little bit, and then I'll read at night and do most of my reading then. And I kind of get weird about reading during the day. I don't know why. But I am on holidays, so I may as well just read during the day when I have time and when no one's home. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a bit of reading, continue with the story. We're following, I've forgotten their names, Caspian and Remy. No, not Remy. Starts with an R, I think. And basically, these two both come from very different backgrounds. Caspian, he's had quite the traumatic background and has just had so many awful things happen. And he is in a band currently, and this book does deal with a lot of drugs and drug overdose. So trigger warning, if drug and drug content is too much for you, I would probably skip this one. But yeah, Caspian struggles with drugs. He doesn't think he's an addict, but he does use drugs quite frequently, and an event occurs which gets him sent to Black Diamond for the rehabilitation side, because basically there's the rehab side that deals with addiction, and then there's the more side that's like the resort side of it, which is kind of more what we saw in the first book. And then this side, in this book, we're seeing that rehab side of it. Both of our characters are in the rehab side of it. So yeah. And then our other character, I'm forgetting his name, but he kind of just been partying his life. That's all he's doing. His dad is a really famous director, and his mum is a model, and they basically sent him there to figure out something to do in his life. And yeah, that's where these two meet. And it's kind of like a grumpy sunshine. Caspian is the grump, and our other character is the more sunshiny, positive person. And this book does also deal with a few different mental health things as well. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm liking it better than the first book in this series. And yeah, that's what I'm going to continue reading. And then I definitely, oh, the birds have come out. I do also want to start Regretting You, because they're kind of like quick, easy reads. I really like the series. Those are the two books I'm kind of going to read. And then obviously Lot 62 as well, which I spoke about yesterday, but that's a bigger book. So these two are smaller and I want to get them read. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, two things. Our other character is called Rowan, not Remy. And this is also called Wounded. I was forgetting its title for a second. But I'm on chapter 10. And so yes, Rowan is our other character. Anyway, now I'm just going to time lapse. Hi guys, it's been like 10 minutes and I started Regretting You, which I am already crying in, and I'm like 10% in. This book has started off a lot different than I thought. So we start off with a prologue of Greg and Tyler at a point in time when they're older, but it's kind of like a hazy, we don't entirely know what's going on. And then we actually start off when they're 9, because Lionheart's Academy is like from like young to when you graduate academy. And basically Tyler, his dad, is just awful, and Tyler loves pink and he loves dressing up and playing princesses, and his dad is very much like, that's for girls and girls only. The very stupid stereotypical gender roles, and his dad gets mad and kind of very much yells at him like, you're a boy, act like a boy, which just makes me so sad because it's just so stupid. Like, it's a fucking dress, a piece of clothing. I never understand when people are so set on gendered things. I'm like, it is a color. It does not have a gender. Just like clothing and makeup, they're all just things that don't have genders. And the fact that we have set them in a certain gender is just fucking ridiculous. And it makes me so sad when people push that, because it's just like, why? It's literally so stupid to me. Anyway, it's a completely different rant, but his dad sends him to this academy. His parents are just non-existent in his life, basically. And then he's getting bullied one day, and that's where he meets Greg. And so this is starting off when they're both 9. And Greg, he has such an amazing mum, and we know that Greg loses his mum because that's kind of a big turning point for him and in his life. But when he's 9, his mum is still here, and him and Tyler become friends, and it's just so sweet. And Greg is just so accepting, and at the moment we've now moved on to when they're 10, and Tyler and Greg are going to a carnival which Greg's mum is taking them to, and it's just so sweet. And I didn't know it would be starting off this way, and we'd kind of see like their background in the beginning of their relationship. So yeah, it's different to what I thought, but I'm loving it. Like, already I am loving the kind of depth that is here, because that's what I felt was lacking in the previous 2 books. Like, there was a little bit of depth but not a lot. This one is already quite deep and emotional straight off the bat, and I just love the sentence that Tyler just said, like, Greg's mum gave him the one thing he's always wanted from an adult, and that's acceptance. And even that sentence just has me crying, because I'm like, it's just so heartbreaking how many kids just want acceptance. Like, they don't need anything else but acceptance. And yeah, it just made me emotional, and it's still making me emotional. But that's currently where we're at, and just different to what I thought it would be, but in a really fantastic way. So I'm excited to see what the next chapters are, because they're 10 now. We saw 9, we're seeing 10. I don't know if we're going to go up in the years, or if then there's going to be a jump to when they're older, and how this relationship is going to transition. Because we kind of saw the more, I guess, like, anger version of it when they're older in the past 2 books, where they haven't liked each other and there's been that animosity between them. So it'll be interesting to see how this really sweet relationship when they're younger turn to where it is now. And I just really love them as characters. I really think Tyler is just such a beautiful character, and so is Greg, and they both just have their own kind of, you know, circumstances and things that have molded them into who they are, and I just think they connect really well already. So yeah, that's where I'm currently at. I'll update you guys as I keep going, but I did start this. I'm so bad. There's just so many books out that I want to read, but this one I've been waiting for the longest. So I'm going to read this, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Just want to update you on the tears, essentially. Bye. Yeah, I just had to delete some stuff because I was talking for too long, which is nothing new. But he's still very much like a sunshine character, and I really love him. He's not like super like positive, happy, sunshiny. I think his personality is just very like lack of filter, inquisitive, and I really enjoy him. And I'm liking getting to see, because this is definitely a very steamy book. I mean, all of Ashley James's books are very steamy. We haven't had a threesome scene yet, which I'm shocked. Normally there's at least one. But we haven't had one yet, which I'm like, hallelujah, thank God. I mean, each to their own, but like I've said, they're often in all of her books. And so this book is definitely very kinky, I will say. but it's done in a way, like, she's very entertaining and I do enjoy her smart. Like, I feel like she can write really good smart, so it's okay. But these two are definitely having the time. Well, they're like connecting in terms of like the sexual compatibility, but then Rowan is very wanting to get to know and be friends with Caspian, and Caspian is kind of coming to this realization that like he's never wanted to let his walls down for anyone, and he never has, but he's wanting to do that for Rowan and with Rowan, and that's kind of the realization he's just made at the 60% mark. So I'm excited to see where it goes from here, but I'm also really enjoying this book. It's probably like a 4-star. I do really enjoy it, and I am excited to see who the next book is in this series. I'm not sure who's next, but I will let you guys know. So I should finish that today as well, hopefully tonight, and then I want to continue with lot 62, and I'm not too sure if anything comes out today or the next couple of days. I did see Caitlin, if you guys don't know, she also runs a bookshop here in Australia. You guys should definitely check it out, A Novel Addiction, and she posted on her Instagram yesterday that Iced Out was on sale through Amazon for $12 for the paperback, and I was simply so wanting to buy that, and then I didn't, only because I love the book and I actually do really like the cover. It's just that it is in fact a man's naked chest, and I don't know if I want it in my room for everyone to see. That's the only thing. I wish there were like those covers, because I do really like the cover and it very much suits the book. I just wish there was also like just a plain one that says like Iced Out on it or something, so that I could have that physical copy and not be as embarrassed by someone seeing that. But yeah, I didn't buy it purely for that reason, and also because I don't need to buy any more physical books as much as I may want to, but I was very tempted. So if you guys are wanting to buy that, it is on sale for $12 from like $30. So that is a fantastic deal, in case any of you guys are wondering. And then also this morning I woke up to simply the most exciting news that I was not expecting. I am a big Taylor Swift fan. I fucking love her music so much. It's simply just the best. And I was expecting, I knew she was releasing some international dates, and I thought she was just releasing like Europe dates, because normally Australia is like last on the list of every artist. Australia is always last on the list, always last to kind of get to, just because we are so far away. And then I woke up this morning and she'd released like almost all the international dates, and Australia is in February next year, and I was simply gobsmacked. I was like, I like screamed for a second, and I was like, you're joking. And so me and my friend were trying to get pre-sale tickets, or pre-sale codes to get pre-sale tickets, and it wasn't giving us a code, so we're a bit stressed because there's only Sydney and Melbourne. I live up near Brisbane, like an hour from Brisbane, and so there's no Brisbane show, so it's going to be a fight to get Sydney and Melbourne tickets. I just know it is, because it's always a fight for any artist here in Australia, just because we have such limited shows. It's not like the US where we could just fly to a different state and get tickets easier that way. So yeah, I don't know, I'll let you guys know. It goes on sale next week, so I'll let you know how I go with getting tickets. But like, we've been waiting for this for so long, and I just want a ticket so badly, like so badly. So I'm really hoping we get tickets to that, but I was not expecting that this morning at all. I woke up to it and saw it on Instagram, and I was like, oh my fucking god, she's done it, and I was not expecting this. So yeah, that was my exciting morning. After I finished reading and I checked my phone, I saw that and I was like, oh, let out a little yelp. But anyway, I need to take my washing off the line, nothing exciting, and then I'm going to, I don't know. Like I said yesterday, I find reading during the day, I like reading in my bed at night. Like, there's just something about it that's just like such an elite experience. And so reading during the day, I like it, but it just doesn't feel the same. So I'm like, I could finish Wounded today. I know I could, but I love reading in my bed at night so much, or in the morning. I don't know. I'll probably finish it tonight. Hello everyone. It has been a couple days since I last spoke to you. I finished Wounded on Wednesday night, I want to say. It's now Saturday, and I finished that, which I did enjoy. I don't really have much more to say than what I was already saying. The tension point happened and then it kind of ended a bit quicker than I would have liked. I personally would have liked more, I guess, seeing the development that happened between our two main characters and a bit more of their happiness after the tension point and how they were coping. But it was still good. I still enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It was solid. It's probably not like one of my favourite Ashley James books, but I still really enjoyed it and read it really quickly and had a great time. So the next book in the series is by Nicole Dykes, which comes out this coming week, which will be exciting, and I will let you guys know how that goes. So yeah, I finished that, and then I've kind of honestly been in between reading like so many books. It's so bad. But I actually am almost finished one, which I've kind of been the most focused on, and this is a fantasy book. This is Crossing Acheron by Acheron. In my head I was saying Acheron, but I looked it up, it's Acheron. So I needed to look up the pronunciation for this book, because I was severely humbled when I did look up the pronunciation and I realised I'd been saying it incredibly wrong in my head, which, I mean, always happens. You guys know I'm awful at pronouncing anything. But this is Crossing Acheron, Kin and Kine, Book 1 by H.B. Birde. And this is the first book that they've published. So this is their debut book. And this is really interesting. I'm really enjoying it. It's just kind of hard to tell you what it's about because there's so much going on. So the premise, I'll give you a slight rundown that is probably going to be awful, but I'll do it anyway. This is a vampire based book, and it's heavily based in the vampire world. So it's not kind of like, I feel like some fantasy books, I would say like the writer of the vampire series that I enjoy, her books are like, yes, heavy around the vampires, but more around the romance, I would say, than like the world building, even though it's still there. Grey Brian, it's the author's name. This is heavy on the vampire lore, mythology, world building. Like, there's a lot of different people, well, they're not people, but vampires at play in this book. And so our main character is, in my head I was calling him Malachi. It's Malichi and I was like, oh, my bad, he is Irish. So I believe Malichi is an Irish name, and I'm probably not saying it very well, but Malichi is our main character. And so he kind of wakes up after being killed and is being taken by this group of people. He doesn't really know where he is. He met this man called Marcellus, which he thought was attractive, went home with him, and then kind of it's been a blur from there, and he knows Marcellus killed him. And then he wakes up again in this new place, this new prison, that he doesn't know where he is or what's going on. And from there we're only following his perspective. So this is just a single point of view, which I understand because I do think there's a lot of characters going on. It would probably be too much if every main character that is really heavily involved had their own point of view. But I do wish we got the Acheron's point of view as well, who's one of our other main characters. But I do think the single point of view does allow you as a reader to experience the way the way Malichi is experiencing everything, and is just as kind of confusing for us as a reader as it would be for him, which I do think works well with this book. And the writing in this book is really good as well. I'm really enjoying the writing, and the flow of everything is really, really well done, which is their first book, so congratulations on being on it being well written. But yeah, so then Malichi kind of wakes up, and it's kind of hard to explain because there's a lot happening, and if you do want to read it, I don't want to spoil any of the main points for you, but essentially he gets introduced to Acheron, who is the prince of vampires, but he's not like the top level. Like, there's so many different levels. You have like, I don't know if it's like Acheron, but it's not Acheron. Maybe it's just Archon. The Archon, who is like the head, the king of vampires, and then it breaks down to different clans, and then there's the clanless, who don't belong in any of these. I think it's 4 of them. There's 1, 2, yeah, there's 4 of them, including Acheron. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot happening, and the vampire system is quite complex, and we are learning bits and pieces as we go along. There's not like that map and breakdown of each person and stuff before you go in, which you do see in a lot of fantasy books, so you kind of are learning as you're reading. But basically, Malichi, he is a Damphyr. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but he's a Damphyr, so he's half human, half vampire, but he has a lot of abilities that like vampires don't have, but then he's not a full vampire, so he doesn't really belong to a specific clan, but he has been sired by Acheron, who I would say is our other main character, and he's been sired to him while he kind of learns all these things, but he doesn't belong to a particular house yet. Things are kind of just building on what we know, on what Malichi knows and understands about himself, around the politics especially, because this is definitely heavily a political vampire novel, and then also just about the world that he is entering, what is good and bad, because obviously this is vampirism, but it's not, you know, like light vampirism, like it is more on the heavier realistic side of what that looks like, and he's trying to come to that understanding of not wanting to be a monster, but then these different elements and different people come into play, and he's kind of coming to that understanding that it's not quite as simple as he thinks it is, and all of these different vampires that we are introduced to that are different, like princes and kings and all different characters, are coming into a bigger picture of what is happening. What I'm currently reading and what I'm about to finish, I'll probably finish that tonight, and so far, like I said, really enjoying it. It's really good for a debut book in terms of fantasy. Like, there's definitely things that obviously still need explaining, and the thing that confuses me is the parent and sire aspect of this. It is a bit confusing for me, I'm not gonna lie, but other than that, I feel like things are pretty well explained, and I appreciate that. So yeah, I'll probably give that a 4 stars. It's like a 3.5 or a 4, depending on how it ends, I suppose, but I am really enjoying it. And as far as fantasy books go, it's definitely like not the worst vampire fantasy I've read. It's pretty good actually. It's pretty strong on the vampire emphasis, which I like, and I really appreciate that it is so detailed in the vampire aspect of the book, not just the romance. That's what I'm doing. I thought I would finish this vlog up for you. I've spoken about a multitude of different books. Let me know what you guys have been reading. As always, I always love hearing what you guys are reading, what you're loving. If there's any books you think I should check out, please feel free to comment them down below. As always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up with me. Welcome back. I'm going to try and have a video up every week now that I'm not on holidays and while I have a bit of time off. So yeah, that's the goal. I'll see you guys next week. Have a great week, and I'll see you then. Bye.